There is a spiritual law, a divine principle, that governs the flow of all things. Yes, even money. When man aligns his word, thought, and feeling with the law of prosperity, he becomes a powerful magnet for wealth, just as surely as iron draws to the magnet's pull. Poverty is not a condition, it is a belief, and belief can be changed in the twinkling of an eye. Money is God in action. It is not evil, it is not wrong. It is circulation, it is energy, and it flows where it is welcomed. Many repel money by speaking words of lack, thinking thoughts of fear, and acting from limitation. They chase it in desperation, never realizing that the gold they seek is already within them. The supply is waiting for the demand. Money is God in action. It is the visible manifestation of invisible substance. It is the outpicturing of supply made real through divine channels. Many have been taught that money is unspiritual, dirty, or even evil, yet this belief is the very chain that binds them to lack. In truth, money is as spiritual as the sunrise, as holy as the breath in your lungs, as divinely appointed as the air, the water, the earth. Everything on this material plane is made by the word, and money, too, is governed by the word. When one truly understands that God is the source of all substance, and that money is one of the many expressions of that substance, he no longer fears money, nor does he worship it. He sees it clearly for what it is: a servant, a tool, a medium of exchange that flows to him by right of consciousness. God is not a God of poverty, but a God of abundance. There is no lack in the divine mind, and so there can be no lack in the life of the one who aligns with it. The belief that money is evil has its root in fear. Fear of power, fear of judgment, fear of responsibility. But these fears are shadows cast by ignorance. The truth is simple: money, like electricity, is neither good nor bad. It takes on the character of the one who uses it. In the hands of the just, it uplifts. In the hands of the wise, it blesses. In the heart of the one who walks in divine order, it becomes a tool of healing, a channel of grace. To speak against money is to speak against the flow of divine substance. To reject money is to reject a part of life's fullness. And what man rejects, he cannot attract. Words are powerful. If a man says, "I hate money," money is hard to get. Money is the root of all evil. Then money must flee from him, for he has cast it out by his own decree. The law responds not to what man wishes, but to what he truly believes. And belief is made visible by the words he speaks day by day. The man who desires abundance must begin to see money as a friend, not a foe. He must treat it with respect, speak of it with gratitude, and call it forth with certainty. He must cleanse his mind of inherited fears and religious misteachings, replacing them with truth. That money is divine supply made visible, and that he is worthy of it. There is no virtue in lack. There is no sainthood in struggle. True power lies in recognizing the source of all things and accepting the flow with open hands and an open heart. One cannot attract what he secretly despises. If he feels guilt around money, it will slip through his fingers. If he feels shame in receiving, he will block the channel. If he thinks money corrupts, he will resist it unconsciously. But when he declares, "Money is good," money is spiritual, money is the substance of God in visible form, he begins to reverse the curse of poverty thinking. He begins to plant new seeds, seeds that produce after their kind. A man aligned with divine substance does not chase money, he magnetizes it. His words are charged with power. His thoughts create form. His heart remains open. He blesses every dollar that comes to him, knowing it is a carrier of divine energy. He honors its presence and multiplies it by treating it with order, with wisdom, and with joy. The spoken word creates your financial reality. Words are not idle sounds that pass through the lips and vanish into silence. They are seeds sown into the invisible field of substance. Every word is a decree, every sentence a command sent forth into the universal storehouse, and what is spoken in faith must return multiplied. When man speaks with conviction, backed by emotion and belief, he is creating the very conditions he experiences. The law of the spoken word is unfailing. It does not ask whether the words are good or bad, positive or negative. It simply obeys. If a man declares, "I can never get ahead," then so it is. If a woman says, "Money always comes to me easily and effortlessly," the universe aligns with her words. The outer world is but a mirror, reflecting the inner speech of man. Words are the mold into which substance flows. Many do not realize that they are prophesying their own future, with every complaint, every fearful remark, every statement of doubt or limitation. "I never have enough. It's too hard. There's never anything left after bills." These phrases are not harmless expressions of frustration. They are creative acts. The law does not distinguish between a deliberate affirmation and a careless statement. It takes man at his word. What he repeatedly speaks, he ultimately lives. The power of the word lies in its vibration. When a statement is spoken aloud, it carries the frequency of belief. It stirs the ethers. It reaches into the unseen and begins to gather like substance to itself. A word of fear draws more fear. A word of confidence draws opportunity. This is why Scripture says, "By thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned." The mouth speaks, and the world obeys. The one who desires wealth must begin to discipline his tongue. He must become vigilant with every word that passes his lips. Idle talk of lack, sarcastic remarks about money, jokes about being broke. These are not harmless, they are spells cast upon the self. Man must speak only that which he desires to experience. If he seeks abundance, let him say, "I am rich in substance and supply." If he seeks increase, let him declare, "Money flows to me in rivers of gold." If he longs for opportunity, let him affirm, "Doors open to me in divine timing." Words must not only be spoken, they must be felt. Empty repetition without belief carries little power. But when the heart and the voice are aligned, the word becomes a living force. It gains momentum with each utterance, each repetition building power, until it breaks through the crust of appearances and brings forth a new condition. This is why daily affirmations, spoken aloud and with faith, are not merely exercises in hope. They are the instruments of transformation. Man often guards his money more carefully than his words, not realizing that it is his words that determine the state of his money. He seeks advice on investments and savings, while cursing his finances with every other breath. He speaks of debts, worries about bills, complains about the cost of living, and then wonders why his situation remains unchanged. It is not the economy that dictates his experience. It is the decree of his own tongue. To speak is to create. The universe does not respond to begging or pleading. It responds to declaration. When man learns to speak wealth, think wealth, and act in alignment with wealth, the outer must conform. Let every word be chosen with intention, for each one is a key, opening or closing the door to financial increase. You attract wealth by faith, not fear. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is the invisible force that moves mountains, opens doors, and draws all that is good into the life of the one who believes. Fear, on the other hand, is a magnet for lack, delay, and struggle. These two powers, faith and fear, cannot operate together. One builds, the other destroys. One uplifts, the other pulls down. Man must choose which he will serve. He cannot speak words of faith in the morning and tremble with fear by night. For a double-minded man receives nothing. The law demands unwavering belief. When one stands firm in the truth that supply is already his, though unseen, though unfelt, he sets spiritual law in motion. The outer world may show lack, yet the man of faith does not waver. He speaks abundance, gives thanks in advance, and acts as if the miracle has already occurred. Faith is not hope. Faith is knowing. Hope waits, faith receives. Hope sees lack and wishes for more. Faith sees abundance even in the void. To attract wealth, one must abandon the habit of hoping with doubt, of wishing while worrying. He must instead walk with certainty, speak with authority, and rest in the assurance that his words and thoughts are creative forces, backed by divine intelligence. He must learn to say, I have, not, I will have, for the law does not respond to future tense, it responds to the now. Fear is the great repeller. It tightens the channels of good and blocks the flow of supply. When man fears poverty, he invites it. When he fears loss, he draws it near. Fear gives energy to the very conditions he dreads. But when man acts in faith, even in the face of contrary appearances, he neutralizes fear and breaks the cycle of lack. Faith opens the floodgates of abundance because it aligns with the truth that God is the unfailing source of all things. Faith requires trust in the unseen. One does not wait to see the money before believing it is his. He must believe first, and the manifestation follows. This is not a trick of the mind, but a spiritual principle. All things are created twice. First in thought, then in form. If the thought is filled with fear, the form will reflect it. If the thought is rich in faith, the form will manifest prosperity. Many sabotage their good by acting out of fear. They shrink from opportunities, delay decisions, hoard their money, and live as though the universe is limited. They speak of just enough, barely getting by, and tight budgets. These words and actions declare faith in lack, not in supply. Yet the one who gives freely, trusts boldly, and declares abundance, even before the evidence appears, activates a law higher than circumstance. He walks by faith, not by sight. The imagination must be cleansed of fearful pictures. Faith paints images of joy, increase, and freedom. When the mind is filled with images of wealth, honest wealth, joyfully received and wisely used, the heart responds, the speech follows, and the law of attraction is fulfilled. One cannot hold visions of disaster and expect miracles. He must discipline his thoughts as carefully as his words, for both are shaping his reality. True faith does not beg or plead. It stands firm, speaks truth, and expects results. The man of faith speaks his word and knows it is done. He does not revisit it with anxiety. He does not question how or when. He releases it to divine mind, confident that substance is forming around his decree. Gratitude and forgiveness unlock abundance. These are not just virtues of the spirit, they are keys that open the gates of supply. Without them, the channel remains blocked. No matter how many affirmations are spoken or how many prayers are uttered. Gratitude aligns man with increase, and forgiveness purifies his inner world so that good may enter. Together, they clear the path for divine substance to flow freely into his life. Gratitude is not reserved for moments of visible blessing. True gratitude is a spiritual stance, a constant awareness of the presence of good, even when the evidence is not yet seen. The grateful heart does not wait for the manifestation to rejoice. It rejoices in advance. It praises the invisible supply, knowing that what is held in consciousness must appear in form. When man gives thanks for what he does not yet see, he is proving his faith, and faith draws the substance forth. Many block their wealth by complaining. They speak of what they lack, dwell on what is missing, and curse the very channels through which good might come. This is ingratitude, and ingratitude repels blessings. The law cannot deliver abundance to one who does not recognize the good already in his possession. Even a small coin, blessed and thanked for, can multiply. The moment man blesses what he has, no matter how little, it begins to grow. Gratitude magnifies, it expands the good and calls forth more. Forgiveness is the other half of the key. Without it, the heart is heavy, the mind is clouded, and the soul is chained to the past. Resentment, anger, jealousy. These are the great blockers of prosperity. They create a vibration of resistance, a wall that the good cannot pass through. A man may work, declare, affirm, and pray, but if he holds bitterness in his heart, he will find his blessings delayed. Forgiveness is not for the other, it is for the self. It is the great cleanser, the spiritual reset that makes room for new good to enter. To forgive is to release. It is to cut the cord to past injury, to free the self from the bondage of old wounds. When man forgives, he says to the universe, I am ready to receive. I hold no one in judgment. I claim only my good. This act of spiritual surrender lifts the vibration, dissolves the hard shell around the heart, and allows divine energy to flow once more. The law responds immediately when forgiveness is genuine. Many wonder why their affirmations seem powerless, why their prayers go unanswered. Yet they carry grudges like treasures. They rehearse past wrongs, speak ill of those who hurt them, and expect to prosper. But the universe does not operate on vengeance. It operates on harmony. Wealth is a vibration of freedom, and freedom cannot coexist with the chains of unforgiveness. As long as man holds another in bondage, he binds himself as well. The practice of daily gratitude and active forgiveness is a prosperity discipline. It is not merely emotional, it is deeply spiritual. Every morning, to give thanks. Every evening, to release offense. These are the rituals that unlock the gates of increase. They shift the consciousness from fear to love, from scarcity to abundance, from bondage to freedom. Even a debt can be transformed through gratitude. Instead of cursing the bill, bless it. Bless the electricity it paid for, the roof it secured, the lesson it taught. Gratitude rewrites the experience, and what is rewritten in the mind must be rewritten in reality. And if another has wronged you, bless them too. Speak words of release. I forgive you and set you free. You are no longer tied to my energy. I make space for my good. The law is precise, and the moment you align with it through gratitude and forgiveness, the current of supply begins to move again. Prepare and act as if wealth is already yours. This is the sacred law of assumption, the invisible pattern behind every visible manifestation. When a man acts rich in consciousness, he aligns himself with the vibration of riches, and the outer world begins to mirror that inner shift. It is not pretense, it is prophecy. By stepping into the feeling and posture of abundance, before the evidence arrives, he signals to the universe that he is ready to receive. Faith must take form through action. Thought alone is not enough. It must be followed by movement that matches the belief. When man says, I am rich, yet walks with the gait of fear, delays decisions, and hoards pennies with anxiety, he is contradicting his own declaration. The universe responds not to words alone, but to the consistency between word, thought, feeling, and deed. To prepare for wealth is to make room for it, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. There are those who pray for a new dwelling, yet their current home is cluttered and uncared for. There are those who affirm prosperity, yet refuse to tithe or give freely. These are signals of lack. They reveal the hidden belief that increase is distant, uncertain, or unearned. But when a person cleans his space, organizes his finances, blesses his bills, and gives with a cheerful heart, he is saying, "I live in the reality of supply." The law must honor that signal, for it cannot deny alignment. To act rich does not mean to spend foolishly or boast extravagantly. It means to carry oneself with dignity, to invest in order, to speak as one who knows his needs are always met. It is to rise in the morning with a sense of divine provision, and to go to rest knowing the storehouse of the universe is always full. A wealthy consciousness is calm, generous, expectant, and grateful. It prepares in advance for blessings not yet seen, for it trusts the process of manifestation. Many delay action, saying, "When I have the money, then I will do this or that." But the law is reversed. When one steps forward in faith, the way is made clear. When one acts on the vision, the provision follows. Spirit meets us at the point of expectancy. The chair must be placed before the guest arrives. The table must be set before the meal is served. So too must man prepare his life for the riches he claims. If one believes he is a magnet for wealth, he must organize his life to receive it. He must open new channels, say yes to new opportunities, and clear away what no longer serves his highest good. He must examine his habits, his relationships, his beliefs, and remove what is out of alignment with the vibration of abundance. Every act of preparation is a statement of belief. My good is coming. I am ready now. The feeling of wealth is a creative force. To dwell in it, even for moments each day, is to begin forming the mold into which substance can flow. One may walk through modest surroundings, yet inwardly be building the mansion. One may wear simple clothes, yet radiate the confidence of one who knows his value. The outer may not yet reflect the inner wealth, but it must come. The law cannot fail. Every gesture counts. Hanging clothes with care, blessing meals with gratitude, handling money with respect. All these are rituals of prosperity. They say to the universe, I honor what I have, and I am ready for more. When a man no longer postpones joy, no longer waits for riches to feel rich, he has mastered the law of preparation. He becomes a magnet, not through effort, but through embodiment.